Let's go to the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority for a bit. That's Lastma. According to news at the weekend, 5 Lastma officials were sacked for corruption. All right, they were given letters of termination of appointment, and also the agency gave letters of reprimand to 2 indicted officials of the agency for absence from duty posts without leave. Now, this comes following the recommendations of the Personnel Management Board by the Lagos State Civil Service Commission. A statement signed by the Director of Public Affairs and Enlightenment Department of Lastma, Adebayo Taufik, said every recommendation made by the board on the 7 indicted officials during their meeting last week during their meeting on Tuesday, August the 19th this year, was ratified by the commission. Now, this issue of Lastma, it's been a front burner issue. We've always talking about Lastma and their excesses, all right? So this looks like the agency is like that.
It's a part of
like
the
looking, they're actually listening to the complaints of.
That's a part on the back. If you are caught, investigated, and found guilty, you should be tried. It shouldn't just stop at go home and see no more.
Oh, okay.
So whatever money was involved, go and enjoy it. That's what we're saying. And that is why.
So you think it should be taken further?
We keep saying
Of course.
we're in an environment of no consequence. They will tomorrow get another job elsewhere. But if they have to know that they did a crime and then they have to do the time, that brings a restraint. A lot of people are restrained knowing that if I do this thing, I will be caught and I will be punished. You can't come. Where were we? Obanikoro here. I left my car in Maryland and I had to take a bus from there. And the man that carried me barely 2 seconds. One guy came from me, another one came. That one wasn't in uniform. I gave him money on and I said, come, are you making profit? He said, okay, this one is for Lastma. This one for I said, oh, Lastma also had people collecting money from Dampo drivers. This was last week. Between Obanikoro and Tony Village. I mean, why are we doing all these things? Now, you and I mean, the people will now go and say, boy, commercial bus drivers are charging higher fees. Why would they know? There are so many illegal fees to pay.
And they put it on the computer.
And you see it. I mean, if a passenger, you see them passing the money out. The song will have we're going to write some unreadable signs on their windscreen to show that they are paid for that day. It's a daily payment.
Sometimes they give them codes, code words, so that they know that you are settled before. Mrs. Kama, this issue of
Like you
Lastma.
rightly said, to fire a Lastma official for corruption is a part of the back because you have to be punished. If corruption is illegal, you should not only lose your job, you should also be prosecuted and jailed. But let's talk about firing people for corruption and dereliction of duties. It sounds wonderful, but the problem goes much deeper than that. Lastma officials operate the way they do because their ogas approve of it. And that's the issue with the police. Policemen sometimes even shoot drivers for not paying whatever amount. So what gave the policeman the audacity to extort money with this impunity? Because the oga that is watching him, his supervisor, is approves of his behavior and wants him to bring some returns. And the supervisor takes returns to higher supervisors and so on and so forth. So this is just for image making. I am not in any way impressed. Any serious ethical or moral revolution must start from the top and filter down to the bottoms. So the ogas need to be held accountable. The guys that stand on the street and write hieroglyphics on those cars and collect money, who is keeping them there? Who is getting that money? It goes to the highest echelon of the state government. So let these guys stop fooling us. Let them be for real. Let them take responsibility for their actions. Let there be transparency and accountability in the system.
All right, you want to add to that, Ari?
Well, the thing is, some of the people you see are not representing the state. There are so many amorphous groups collecting
And who
money.
allows them on the street? They are
I'm
legal.
saying so because we have had cause to delve into it. And this one we say they are union, this one Eritrean. Then the
But is
even
it
the
something the government cannot do anything about? Because it looks like
this
they
is
come to
only
stay.
country I
They
know.
come to stay, yeah.
The buck stops at the governor's desk.
Unfortunately.
The governor is allowing it. Then he's complicit.
You see, the problem here is this: without any intent to be loud or proud and imodest, I have lived in several countries. There is nowhere in the world that all these kind of things are permitted. It's not done.
Yeah.
But you now ask yourself, how did we get here? You know that people, I mean, regular guys, civilian, you just come and collect money, and if that guy that day was already pulling is a wiper,
Yes.
as if he has some authority with somebody.
The sense of entitlement.
Entitlement.
There's an organ backing him up. He
You
cannot
know,
do that without the backing of the
And you know what?
politicians.
There are people also,
That
jobless people, who of their own accord will go and stand at junctions and be arresting people. The other day by Mobil in Lobaniboro, my vehicle did overheating and I parked to see what was happening. So when your boss came and said, if I don't give them 40K, I will not open the bonnet.
We've had that experience.
Unfortunately
I have.
for them, my old office was just a stone throw away. So the mechanics there, well, they all come, God, they all came out. That was what gave me the strength to face them. And I opened my bonnet. The other one that came and was trying to push me, I really put him hard. So at that point, they said, oh, he's just wearing glasses. So you need to now water. And then they let me go.
into now.
40,000 naira before I would
Before
open
you
the
can,
bonnet
yes,
of my car.
yes.
So,
This,
I mean,
I think this happens in Lagos only because I've had that experience as well. All right, so I was in a bus coming from Oshodi, you know, through Ikeja along. You know, that day I learned that the entire Ikeja along, you know, till the end is a no-stop area. Not according to the government, but according to the area boards. All right, so you dare not have any mishap on that stretch of road. You are going to pay before you can do anything. Actually, the bus had a flat tire. All right, so and he had a spare. He had a spare. It's just to change the tire, and we continue. And they came from nowhere, and seized the tire he was going to change. They seized his spare and told him he had to pay them 20K, you know, before he can even change the tire, even move the vehicle. Look, you don't want to know the level of negotiation that went on. And at some point, I started to talk, like, what is all this nonsense and all that? And then one of them put his hand into his trouser, you know, like, you know what that means? Yes, you know what that means in Lagos. And yours truly, I shifted, okay? Before
and you know, the
The
day,
illegal possession of a gun is a serious criminal offense. So the police
you are telling us
it.
what we already know.
The police allows it.
It's a whole lot.
No, please. They didn't allow it.
I can't make
It's a whole lot.
No.
For the
Whatever.
government. The government can handle the situation if they choose to.
I don't, you see, when you say they allowed it, I won't buy into that. They won't have encouraged any. I mean, these are touts and thugs to go and be carrying arms. No, that has no hand of government, please. It's an illegal thing. And if
And the illegal thing is being perpetrated openly.
they get arrested.
every day.
I don't know what, but let me tell you that day. Some Lastma guys came from Antony, and I felt, oh, my savior has come. I went to meet them. One of them said he thought I was joking with area boys, and I asked him, in my suit and tie, what is the correlation? My physical look alone, was he aligned with that? They couldn't help me. It was the mechanic that came and said, change, you don't know, God, whatever. And then it became an issue. They had to leave me alone. If I didn't have the courage and to fire back, my car would have been vandalized.
You know, that's another thing to worry about, because you see these boys operating in the full glare of Lastma officials. You know, yes, they'll just be like a little distance away, and these boys are operating, and they don't say anything. They don't do nothing.
Traffic management.
Wow.
crime prevention.
Something
They
needs to be
told me
done.
that day here in Antony by the
Something needs to be
mobile
done.
station there. It's unfortunate.
Something needs to be done beyond, like they said, just sacking, the corrupt officials and all. Those are the ones.
95% of them are corrupt. So
Right out of
if
my
you
mouth.
have to fire Lastma officials on grounds of corruption, you will empty out the whole agency. Everybody will go. So that's fake. They're image manipulation. That's what it is. Hypocrisy.
It's a lot. Anyways, the acting general manager of Lastma, Okiolale, said the disciplinary action was in line with the extant rules as guided by the Lagos State Civil Service rules and regulations, and he maintained that the agency will only get better if and when members of the public share their experiences, both positive and negative ones, and provide evidence where applicable of perceived misdemeanors. All right. He, however, implored road users in the state to always obey traffic laws to avoid facing the penalties that are stipulated in the legislation, while assuring the public that these complaints will be looked into quickly and impartially. Meanwhile, the agency also says 14 other Lastma officials are undergoing administrative review because they've also been indicted. All right, I guess these are moves by the agency to sanitize the agency. That agency does need a lot of sanitizing, all right, or reforms, as it were, because if you live in Lagos, then you know what they are up to. Okay, it's a whole lot, and motorists are not finding it funny with Lastma. First of all, I think their core duty is to maintain free flow of traffic. All right, but they don't come from that angle. Some of them hide behind kiosks and wait for you to break the law and then jump in front of you. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
When you say
Really what
break
they
the law,
do.
somewhere in the Lamsa, behind by the fire service, there was a place where they put no parking, and they deliberately turn that thing away, and then they will wait for you to
park there
without
and then show you
But
the sign.
the day they came after me, I didn't bother myself. I just showed them my media card. Can we make noise about this? You guys turn this thing off. How would I have seen it? So just that you result of that, okay, you can go, you can go.
They say one-way street. Before you turn into the one-way street, you don't see a sign.
No sign.
No red, no right.
You don't even see the
So
social.
after you turn into the one-way street,
They
that's
don't
what
come
you
after
see.
you.
Yeah, and then they
So
jump into
one
you.
day I told Jodu Beggar, he just blocked my way. I was surprised they jumped into my car. What does this mean? Park, I'm not parking. What is my offense? You drove a woman. So I didn't drive any one way. Prove it to me. So they took me back where I turned into the street, and there was no sign saying drive turn. So it's all deliberate attempt to rob the people. Like I told those guys that day, you are a bunch of thieves stealing under the cover of your uniform. You are not here to serve the public. You are here to line your pockets. So that's the Nigerian story.
All right, so well, we want to see more done by the Lastma authorities. Let's see more done. Your men need to be called to order. Their excesses are too much, and every Lagosian, we see it every day. Except you don't step out of your house, you see what these Lastma officials are doing. Enough is enough already.